Video 3.1, Pasquini's Rule for a Cadence. His rule connected a 3-4-5-1 bass with particular intervals to play above that bass in the right hand. They're indicated by Arabic numerals. On the top staff, we see a 6 over the third scale degree. That means play 6 and 3. Then a 6-5 over the fourth scale degree. That means play 6 and 5 and 3. Then over the fifth scale degree, we see a 4 and a 3. The 4 means don't play the 3 yet, then play the 3. And nothing's written over the C because that is the default case of 3 and 5. All right, let's listen to a single melodic line written above the bass. So the child would play the written bass with the left hand and the upper melody with the right hand. All right, let's try 2 notes in the right hand. Now a little more complicated melody. The same in minor. And quite a bit more complicated. Each pattern is different, but each is just a performance of the underlying schema. Pasquini's rule describes an idealized schema. In practice, the bass can vary. The schema of Pasquini corresponds with a 17th century pattern known as a bergamasca. Just like the romanesca was something that every musician knew, so was a bergamasca, and it's very much like a cadence. 4 and 5 in the middle tend to be always the same, but the first note could be 1 or 3 or 6 or 1 in a higher octave, and the last note could be a 6 or a 1 in either of 2 octaves. So let's listen to a bergamasca by Giannoncelli, and I'll circle the notes in the bass as they're performed. Now, with that in mind, see if you can follow through the 4 stages of this pattern as you listen to an arrangement of the same bergamasca by Respighi for orchestra from the first half of the 20th century. And it goes on. The bergamasca pattern is played about 80 times in Respighi's arrangement. Let's listen to a bergamasca by Kapsberger. For Kapsberger, like Giannoncelli, the bergamasca schema is always done in pairs. For Giannoncelli, the first time you end on a high octave, the second time in a low octave. For Kapsberger, the first time you begin on a 1, the second time you begin on a 3. So actually, the closest that he comes to Pasquini's cadence is for the second time of each pair. Our next Bergamasca is by Uccellini, and you'll hear complex violin parts above the simple bass. The musicians in earlier centuries knew exactly what note was playing in the bass. Ordinary listeners probably didn't. They probably had more of a vague sense of, here we're at the beginning, now we're in the middle, now we're at the end. So let's listen to Uccellini's Bergamasca, but now performed with recorders, with very fancy parts. And we'll just think of the 4 stages of the Bergamasca using a kind of bluish lozenge to indicate where we are in the pattern. The noblemen and noblewomen at the courts of the 17th century in Europe just loved these patterns. And I think even today we can enjoy how a simple scheme is endlessly varied. In some respects, it's very much like much 20th century popular music, where simple bass lines repeated over and over support an amazing variety of melodies and lyrics.